Hello everyone, this is Bodhi, and welcome back to another episode on the Cornerstone SMP server. Today we're going to be doing something a little bit different and taking a break from the Winter Wonderland that we've been working on for the past few weeks, and that's been the focus of our last few episodes. But today we're going to start another project. So, what are we going to be doing today? Well, we're going to be taking a trip to the Nether for starters. And that's because we're going to be building a sort of a farm today that we've wanted to build up for a while. And it's something that I don't know if it's really an abundant resource that anyone on the server really has right now. We're going to be building up a gold farm. Now, there are a couple of gold farms on the server, but the main thing that's important is that we want this gold to start bartering with piglins. I don't think that anyone really has a super efficient piglin bartering setup. So we want to make a super efficient gold farm that we can then use to fuel a piglin bartering setup and get tons of resources like renewable gravel, blackstone, all the stuff that piglins drop. We're gonna get some more soul speed enchanted books, stuff like that. So if we go ahead and head on up to the nether roof, we actually have a hole to it right up here. And there's not much on the nether roof, but this is obviously where the farm is going to be placed. And yeah, there's not much going on here. The only thing we have up here so far is this thing that takes us over to the raid farm, since it's quite far away. But obviously the nether roof is the ideal location for the gold farm, and we want to make sure that we're in a nether waste biome, which right now it looks like we are. And since this space is pretty empty, we might build it here, or we might try to find another spot since we're pretty close to a basalt delta. Either way, I think let's quit with the talking about it and just get started on a time lapse. It's going to be a pretty big build, I think. But before we start the time lapse, let me just clarify. I'm using a design by Raiseworks that was slightly modified by Mumbo Jumbo to use on Hermitcraft. And I really liked what he did with it because it allows for looting rather than just full AFK, which gets more drops. So I preferred to use looting myself, and it's gonna be a bit more efficient because of that. So I'll leave a link to the Raiseworks video and the Mumbo video in the description below. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get this time lapse started right now. Alrighty, as you can see from this giant structure above us, the gold farm is now done. I hope you guys enjoyed that time lapse. So let's go ahead and fly on up to this thing and check out how it's working. So as you guys can maybe tell from the 181 levels I have on me, I have been using this farm quite a bit so far. And we've done some troubleshooting of it, and it's now, I believe, working as best as possible. So let's go through some of the features of this farm. Right now, we're at not the AFK spot, but we're at the storage system. And the storage system actually went through a couple iterations, because at first we built the storage system, or collection system, I should say, that the one that Mumbo Jumbo built on Hermitcraft, and his was a similar system. But I found that the items were actually coming in too fast from the piglins, or the zombie piglins, to get picked up by the number of hoppers and hopper minecarts that we had. So what I decided to do was use the collection system that Nembon used in his gold farm design. Obviously, we used a different gold farm design, but the collection system uses a very unique way. If I can land on the correct spot, oh boy. It has a very unique way of placing the hopper mine carts. So, you can kind of see it from this angle. Yeah, it has a very specific way of placing the hopper minecart so that it, like, sucks up the items in a very efficient way and doesn't get bottlenecked too badly by how quick the farm is. So, the piglins are not currently aggroed at us, which is good, because that would get very loud very quickly. But yeah, we basically just stand up here, we hit one of the piglins once we want to start the farm, and there's also a piglin back there that does not despawn, that keeps the farm running. And they basically just filter into this system very easily. Let's go ahead and head on back up here for a second. So I did make one minor adjustment of my own, and that being I raised this stairway up one block so that all the piglins can fall into this little area here without colliding with the ones that are already in here, so that we don't have to kill them first before more can funnel in, if that makes sense. So, yeah. Basically, it's working perfectly now, and I am not going to start using this thing on camera because the sound of the piglins is absolutely terrifying. Or not terrifying, but absolutely terrible. It gets pretty annoying after about 1 second of using the farm, so I would highly recommend turning your volume off for using this farm. But, yeah. I really like how it's come together, and now I will have the links to 4 separate videos in the description here, because I will have the one for the original Razeworks farm, I will have the one for Mumbo Jumbo's video on Hermitcraft, I will have the video of someone who made a tutorial out of Mumbo's modifications, and then I will also have a link to Nembomb's gold farm, which has the collection system we use. And as we can see here, we have gotten a ton of gold so far, and that's not even all of it. We also get some of these piglins' heads. But if we take a look at our ender chest, in this shulker box right here, we also have 4 stacks of gold blocks. This thing is super efficient, which brings us on what we're gonna do next in today's episode, which is be putting this gold to use in the form of piglin bartering. So, automatic piglin bartering setups are really not too complicated to design, so I ended up just throwing together a pretty simple design of my own in a creative world using some mechanics that I had seen in other videos and such. So basically we're just gonna have it so that items, the gold ingots get dispensed to the piglins every time they pick up a new one. And it seemed to be working very well in my creative world, so what I think we'll do here is rather than putting the piglin bartering farm up on the nether roof, we can instead create a sort of a little room behind this nether portal here, and sort of connect it to the nether hub and use the same style of building blocks. And I think that'll be really cool if we have just like a little corridor behind this that has some piglin bartering in it. And it's not going to be a super huge design. I think total we're going to have 4 piglins that we're throwing ingots to and have them barter with us. So yeah, very simple overall. So let me get started on designing the room and building the farm up in survival. Okay, phase 1 is done, the actual interior, and this room is gonna be super compact. So it's literally like 5 by 5 wide, and it's just sort of a continuation of the nether hub. But the windows are a little bit different. Basically, these 2 windows on each side here are going to have piglins behind them. Like I said, 4 piglins total that we will be bartering with. And I think I found a way to basically fit everything, all the redstone, like behind these walls here and power it. We probably want to cover that up once we put it in so that no gas shoot it down. Yeah, the items will be dispensed to the piglins. They will barter, throw them into hoppers, which will go into a sorting system. And then I think we'll have like a hole right here that will take us down to another room that'll have like the chests with the sorting systems to collect the loot. And then we'll probably have like an on-off switch on the wall here. So yeah, I think we're on track for this thing to work out pretty well. So let's get in the little piglin cells and start doing some of the redstone. Okay, so we've gotten started on the redstone, so let me show you what we've gotten in here so far. So we head out this direction right here. Hopefully don't get shot out by any ghast. I can hear one, but I can't see it, so that's a little bit worrying. Anyway, we have the on-off switch here, which connects to these redstone torches. Basically, it just inverts the signal twice. If it's turned off, or if it's right now it would be turned on, and if it gets turned off, then it basically always has these torches unpowered, so the dispenser or the droppers would no longer fire. But if it's turned on, then the droppers are able to fire normally if there's items in them. Oops. Don't want this guy to cause any trouble. There we go. Okay, yeah, so there's no items in here right now, so obviously it's not firing. But basically the way it works is we have, where is it? This pressure plate right here is where the items go. And then if there's an item on it, it powers, or it unpowers that torch, which would power this torch, which would unpower that torch. So basically it powers the dispenser every time an item is taken off of there, because the piglins are going to be standing here. The important thing we got to do is put the piglins up on a carpet so that that way they're high enough to reach the items on this corner. And we're going to put a block here for the roof. We just have to get them in first. But yeah, I just wanted to make sure I could get some cyan carpets so that it would match the color scheme. Anywho, now all we have to do is we gotta work on the storage system for it. And then also we need to get the piglins in here, obviously, finish the little carpets in there. And then also we need to make a system that distributes the gold evenly to each of the different droppers. So I think I came up with a minecart hopper system that should be able to four-way split them from one chest or one barrel, whatever we decide to use. So let's get that put in. Okay, so we already have a mess of shulker boxes forming in this tiny area, but I've implemented the system that allows us to drop items into this chest alone and have them split between 4 different areas, which are going to be the 4 different piglins. So, with my limited redstone knowledge, I may have overcomplicated this thing a lot more than I need to, but it's okay, it's done now, and it looks to be working completely fine. So, as we can see here, this system right here is really simple. It just basically, this chest goes into 2 hopper minecarts that split them evenly, which then gets split one more time into these 2 hoppers since it's right over these 2. So it's a direct split into 4th each. That always comes out correctly, and then it takes it over to these dropper elevators. Now, it's funny, I actually found these in a Mumbo Jumbo video from, let's see, 2013, and they still appear to be working in 1.16, so that's pretty cool. It's not too complicated. It did require a bit of comparators and redstone torches and stuff like that. The only issue that I can see is that sometimes when we chuck items into here, occasionally some items will get stuck. Oh wait, that was not the way that it should work. If they're coming in like this, occasionally some items will get stuck because the way it works is using redstone torch burnouts like this, but most of them make it up to here, and then if we were to put more items back into the system, it would resume functioning again, and they would all get sent through. So it's not a big deal, but if we look in here, yeah, sometimes a few items get caught up in the system. Not a big deal, though, because we're going to be bartering in large quantities, so by the time we send more items back through again, those will just get cycled back around, and all the gold will make its way into the system eventually. And we have enough gold that if there's like a couple ingots sitting in the droppers, it's not that big of a deal. So now that we have that working, we got to set up the sorting system that's going to be below here. So we're basically just going to have a giant storage room with all of the different things that we can get from bartering with piglins, and then the last step is to get the piglins in here. So yeah, let's get that done. And so now, if we take a trip down below us, down here, we now have a giant storage room for all of the different items that we can get from piglin bartering. We don't have any labels yet, so we should probably come down and put some item frames down here. But yeah, this room is, you know, looking pretty nice, and it's just pretty compact. And there's actually 2 sorting systems on both sides of the room. And that was to account so that there's no way the items will get sort of backed up in the system, because we don't want them to get like too we don't want the hoppers to get too filled up, and it looked like that could happen sometimes. So we actually have the same exact sorting system on both sides of the sorting or the storage room. So now we have a perfect system, and anything that makes it to the end will just get destroyed. And then the last slot actually doesn't have a sorting system, because this is for the non-stackables, like enchanted books, potions, stuff like that the piglins drop. So now the last step is to get the piglins in and I have this like little bridge over to here. So let's see if we can lure some of them into the trading cells. Alright, this should hopefully be our first piglin to go into the system. I have him in a boat with me here. I threw a piece of gold armor on him so that he won't despawn. And if we slowly but surely make our way over here... Oh my god, there's actually a piglin that spawned on our system. Okay, maybe that guy can be our second. But for now, we want to move this guy into this chamber right here. Okay, so this guy decided to wander around a little bit and then ended up in a different cell than we wanted him to, but that's completely fine. I just had to nudge him in here a little bit, so that actually worked out better, or completely fine. What we have to do now is go ahead and pop the roof on him. We cannot place a block here because of the carpet affecting his hitbox, but if we go ahead and use a piston, like this, and now there's a roof on top of him, and we can also replace this trapdoor and get rid of the piston. So now we just have to get 3 more, and I think that we can use that one that we saw that's already around here, hopefully. So let's try and wrangle some more in here. Okay, I literally cannot even describe how I got this lucky, but 2 random piglins happened to wander into these cells. So all I had to do was throw them a piece of gold armor, and now they're here to stay. And we can do the piston trick again, where we put a roof on them like that. Do it on the other side as well, although we probably want to get rid of this thing. And same thing here. And now we only need 1 more piglin, which is absolutely insane how easy this has been going. So hopefully we don't run into any challenges now. Alright, our last guy is in now, so we can just do the piston thing one more time, like that. Get rid of it. And then get rid of all this netherrack, and I believe that we have all 4 piglins in. Let's go ahead and take a look inside. We can go up here. Okay, there we go. So yeah, none of them will despawn because we threw them either gold leggings or chest plate. This guy's suited up. Yeah, so they're here to stay, and we have them in the perfect spots for bartering, so we are now ready to start. Okay, so the piglin bartering system is now, I believe, completely finished, minus any issues that we may run into, but I'm pretty sure that it should be working completely fine. We're not going to test this in today's video because I get the sense that we are probably running out of time today. So, I'm not going to test it today, but I will probably come back in the next episode having used this thing a ton because I am very excited to see how it works, and we'll check on how we're doing getting all the resources from piglin bartering, so I'm super excited to test it out. Well, that is pretty much gonna have to be it for today's episode, but before we leave, I did come back to my base here and notice this shulker box, and it says, Merry Christmas, Bodhi, so it looks like somebody left me a present, which I am very grateful for. Let's check on what's inside. Oh, wow. Okay, so this is from Alex, very nice of him. We've got some gold and iron, but most importantly, we have some diamonds here, which is super cool. That's 9 diamonds. That's nothing. That's a pretty good amount of diamonds. Let's read what's in here. Golden ticket. A golden ticket gets you a free book in the enchanted bookshop. Enjoy and use them wisely. Ah, okay. We have 3 golden tickets, so we can buy some enchanted books from him as well if we need them. We do have access to a lot of our own, but if there's ever one that we don't have, that he does have, we can feel free to use those. That's pretty cool. So, thank you very much to Alex for our Christmas present. I appreciate it. But yeah, we definitely got a lot done today, so I apologize if this episode runs a little bit long or if it takes a little bit longer to get out. Because obviously the gold farm, even though it was summed into a short little time lapse, that did take quite a while to build and work out all of the systems for it, and I'm really happy that that's done now. And then the piglin bartering system also took me a while to finish, but we are now done with both of those, and I can't wait to reap the rewards of the gold farm and the piglin bartering farm. So that is freaking amazing. But without further ado, guys, if you did enjoy today's episode, please leave a like, subscribe if you want to see more, and if you're new to the channel, and leave a comment down below letting me know what you think. Oh, and also check down below in the description for the links to the gold farm designs that I used if you are interested in those. Credit where credit is due. But for now, guys, this has been Bodhi, and I will see you all in the next episode.